Hi folks, thanks for spending time with me today. We're going to spend a little of our work today, our energy, on Charlier number 10, which is called Do Rhythm. So this is about time. Rhythm and tempo are different things, and we'll talk a little bit about that, get into it a little bit today. But as you'll see, I am not ready to play this all the way through. But I can use it for practice. So oftentimes what I'll do is warm up, get the ear going, see if I can find my embouchure today, and then start working on an etude. And the etude brings all the skills together. And what I always need to do is take those skills apart and then put them back together again. So I'll show you a little bit of that today. Hopefully these tips will help you with your own practice. So here we go, Charlier 10 from the beginning, and I'll probably do it in sections. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit more, and we're getting into it, as is typical with the Charlier etudes and many well-written etudes. It gets more and more complex as it goes along. The challenges keep piling up, and it gets more and more difficult for us to keep our balance, so to speak. So here we go. This is from the a tempo on the 5th line. Okay, boy, that is busy. Now, if you're trying to play this, or maybe you have it for an assignment if you're in conservatory, I'm told that back in the day at the Paris Conservatory, you'd be expected to bring one Charlier every lesson, along with all your other materials, excerpts and other etudes and exercises and so on and so forth. That's a lot of music to learn. But of course, they don't let very many people into the Paris Conservatory, at least they didn't back then. And people like Håkan Hardenberger attended. So it's kind of an elite school, you might say. But here we are trying to get some benefit out of this. So I'm going to back it up, go back to the beginning and show you a few little practice tips. And then I'll see if I can keep going. But as I said, the difficulties keep piling up. So let's see how we can make this simpler. So the first thing I do is I'm trying to feel the time, and it says this is about rhythm. Okay, so you get triplets, duplets, eighths and sixteenths. So that's the place where no, it's not the place where I start. I start with the feeling of the tempo. So I'm going to check what Charlier suggests. Now let's see here. So that's 60, and then. So that's with a triplet subdivision. So that's your quarter note at the beginning. But actually, I'm feeling the dotted half, that's the beat, the 60 beat that he recommends. So I'm feeling it in 2. Why? Well, it's written that way. If you look at the pattern, so it's a feeling of of flow, of lift. Now there's a lot going on. You know, you get fingerings and you get the rhythms that you're trying to play correctly. But the main thing to get is flow and sound, always. So I'm going to see if I play it a little slower and see if I can find the path where I can feel that big gesture. Now, I found my first trouble spot. Now, what do I mean? Well, I can play this. I just played it for you. But it's a spot where it feels a little awkward, where I'm trying a little harder. I'm anticipating the difficulty before I get there. I'm actually feeling, oh, this is going to be a problem spot. And this is extremely important to remember when you're practicing. What you end up doing, if you're not practicing well, is always anticipating the problem spots. So it's like, oh, that high note's coming, and you know it unconsciously, and so your body starts to tighten up. Or here's a spot where I always make a mistake, or here's a spot where I have a finger problem, or here's a spot that's too fast, I can't tongue it properly. So what that does is it puts you in a negative frame of mind. So you have to back all that up and get to the point where you're getting some satisfaction out of it. So I felt pretty good at the beginning. Why? Because I felt ease, balance, control, and I had a decent quality of sound. When did I get in trouble? The second line, when I had to accent and jump to a larger interval. So Charlier was very smart, and he was very good at challenging himself. And I'm told that that's why he wrote these etudes, is to challenge the weaknesses in his own technique. So all of us have plenty of weaknesses. But if we take them all at once, it gets a little bit overwhelming. So let's just look at that spot at the beginning of the second line. So I'm going to tell you, ta-da, tell you, ta. And what I want is that flow thing again. So I need to move smoothly and quickly between those two notes. Now I'm getting really picky. I'm down to, one interval change. Yeah, but that's where my problem is. And as soon as I solve that problem, everything else gets better. Now I'm not saying this is easy, but this is what I would do. And this is why I'm playing this for you. It gives me a chance to practice a little bit. So I want to get that as smooth as possible, and that means I'm going to have to slow it down some more. Now, you see how I'm messing around? I did it poorly on purpose. It's like when I'm not playing this well, it feels kind of like this. Like I'm choking, it's a little tight, maybe I start to use a little mouthpiece pressure. If I pay attention to all those negative things, that takes me to a very bad place. So what I'm doing is I'm tasting it and seeing the difference between that and when it feels totally smooth. So this is one idea. You can apply it to everything that you play. And I found it in the second line of the piece. Now, I haven't even finished playing the rest of the piece yet. And already we're stuck talking about these little difficulties that we run into. So I'm hopeful to give you some tips, you might say, some sense of direction as to how to solve these problems. So the first thing I do is I concentrate on, if I want the sound to be the same, that means the vibration, whatever I'm feeling, where it's vibrating, that airstream that's going between my lips, and the air between my lips is vibrating. And that place, that small area on the lip that is oscillating in the airstream, that's vibrating. So I need to keep that vibration just as free when I go between the notes. If I'm hitching, if I'm somehow interrupting the freedom of that vibration, then I need to work on it some more. And when I've got it, then I find out how to easily move between one note and another. my next difficulty. I'm coming a fair amount of range. It's getting close to 2 octaves, octave and a half. And what do I want? Well, I got a crescendo. That's natural. For some of you, this might be, if this is easy for you and you sound beautiful and you're confident and you're happy and you can do this very consistently, then we need to go on and work on some more difficult spots. But this is something we have to do on the trumpet every day. Just change range. So the more comfortable you can get just changing that amount of range smoothly and evenly without disturbing the vibration, without disturbing the quality of the sound, take it as slowly as you need to. Give yourself time to pause and be ready for the next shift. Most people start having trouble around the top of the staff. So between the C sharp and the E, that's where most players start to exert a little bit too much effort. So notice this kind of stuff. Now, how would I practice this? Well, I would do it very quickly. So very quickly, I'm going to realign my playing. Why? Because I know how to do this already. But I'm trying to get back to the place where where it doesn't feel awkward, where it feels very graceful, and it almost feels like it's happening by itself. So that's the goal. Okay, I'm talking too much again today, and I apologize for doing that. But that's kind of the way I work in these little etudes. So let me take a little bit of the second section, and that's where things for me get a little bit more difficult. So let's see where the problems are. This is at odd tempo again on the 5th line. Now right there, when I did it the first time, I got in my own head about it. I was like, oh yeah, there comes that grace note. Why? Because I was afraid of it. I've chipped it sometimes. I played it incorrectly. It hasn't been really easy and fluid like I wanted. And so I'm anticipating the difficulty. And this is a basic principle you don't want to watch for. Watch yourself. Are you starting to kind of anticipate what's going to come up that you're not confident of? And take that spot and work it out. Now, what I do on a spot like that is part of it is the agility. It's a very quick motion. Part of it is that, according to what he wrote here, you have to stick your tongue in there in order to get that grace note in. So you're going. So there's a lot of articulation. So what I'll do is remove all of it. So I'm getting that as smooth as I can. I notice, oh, there's a lip slur in there. That's part of the problem. I'm going from the A to the C sharp. I start to try a little bit too hard there. And I took the tonguing out and I played it slowly and I gave myself time. So what I'm doing here is building something. And this is the only way I know to improve my performance ability on these etudes. Now you can see why I'm not ready to play it, because it would take me quite a bit of time to get this ready. And I think that's why, and Mr. Hardenberger, if he ever watches this video, will I'm sure correct me if I'm wrong, but during the pandemic, he was playing these etudes because, first of all, they're great musical material. We agree on that. Some of the best stuff that we have, as he put it, some of his favorite etudes. And they have everything in them to keep your playing sharp in terms of the skills. So I'm digging down to the bedrock and saying, well, my skills are all based on this. What is it? It's just uninterrupted flow and easy vibration, easy resonance all the time that stays even throughout. So all this jumping around and adding articulation makes it difficult. So I'm going to practice it separately. So I'm going to go. Now it gets complicated with the articulation. So I'm just going to do that. Oh, I need to slow that down. Now let me put it with the fingers. Now I'm adding another level of complexity. Now let's say I've memorized it. I can hear it. Ooh, I don't really know it in my fingers yet. Now I need to work fingers and time together. You see how I'm working one element and then combining with another element? This is the only way I know to make progress. So let's go back and work it. Forget the tonguing for a while. I'm going to go switch channels and go back to. So now I'm hearing. So the consistency is. Whenever I'm producing tone, I have a continuous flow. I might be stopping it with the tongue to articulate, but I'm always blowing through with that continuous flow. And I'm not the only one to tell you this. I've seen a few other things online. I don't spend much time looking at trumpet stuff on YouTube because I'm a little too busy. But I know that other people talk about this. I'm not the only one. Why? This is like the bow of a string instrument player. That is flowing across the string with exactly the right amount of weight and pressure, exactly the right amount of speed. That's exactly what we're doing with the air. So I need to concentrate on that one thing in order to get it. Now, how do I know if it's working or not? When it's working better, it feels more graceful and less awkward. I'm playing more accurately and consistently. So I have to be very picky. Can I actually hear it? Da 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 da. Now that's my voice is not. I'm not accurate enough with my vocal skills to actually sing the notes exactly where they belong, but I need to hear them. And if I hear them, this is why Clark said one must play every note. In other words, hear the note that you intend to play. You're not just throwing something at the wall. You're aiming at a very specific target. So I'm going to go through and see if I can hear that. Now I'm starting to get all the pieces together. My embouchure is becoming more stable. I'm being more intentional about blowing a single stream of air, feeling that. I'm following through with the flow. In other words, I continue to support the air as the air is leaving the body, following through. I'm listening. I'm doing a lot of things at once. Now it's okay to do a lot of things at once as long as they're happening automatically. And then you can start to unify all these things. So in this 3 bars that I've been working on, there's a whole practice session. I give you a little taste of that, and I know that you would rather hear me play through the whole etude to give you examples, but I think you're much better served by what I have to offer you if I tell you some of how I work. So I've only played a couple of sections of this, and maybe I'll go back and do some more of it on another day. But I don't want to take too much more of your time. But I hope some of these ideas, if you apply them, I know if you apply some of these procedures, you might say, a process of building your playing, you're going to be able to overcome all the difficulties eventually. And that's what good practice is all about. So thanks for spending some time with me. And go and apply these ideas. And I think if you're not already having success with your practice, when you change your procedure, when you change the process, so that you're learning better, you're going to enjoy the results. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'll see you next time, and maybe I'll play through the rest of this. Okay, have a great day. Go practice. I'll join you. I'm going to practice myself right now, and I'll see you later on. Bye bye.